It's a great pleasure to welcome back to BBC Radio Scotland the one and the only John Lydon. How are you?
Very much doing all right, thank you.
We're here to talk about your brand new album, which is called End of the World, the 11th studio release by Public Image Limited. Now, it's your first record in 8 long years. How does it feel to be back with an album in the shops once again?
Well, the delay wasn't really our responsibility. COVID, of course, is definitely not our dilemma, but it created a dilemma for us for 2 years. I mean, we weren't allowed to do anything, really, no movement. Before then, though, when we had gone into the studio to record, Nora got ill, and that was the first indications of her Alzheimer's. And so I had to knock it on the head, and everybody agreed. I couldn't work under that shock and that situation at that time. And then I dedicated myself to taking care of her until she died recently. And I've got to say thank you, Nora, because she really did help me write this album. She's always loved what I've written. She's always laughed at it and been my worst critic. And so in that respect, nothing changed. And it was wonderful because I wasn't allowed to go into misery and self-pity and sadness. She kept me very much on the bounce. She died laughing. I mean, that's the greatest gift of all. Fantastic. Thank you, Nora. And thank you, general public, because if you listen to this record, I think your ears will be pleasantly rewarded.
You laid the foundation stones, John, for End of the World in 2019. Then you managed to get a kind of period of time, during the whole lockdown thing, where you went into a studio in the Cotswolds with the rest of the band, Lou Edmonds and Scott Firth and Bruce Smiths. What was it like to be back in the studio and recording your first songs for 8 long years?
Well, knowing that Nora was safe, because my brother and his wife moved in to make sure that she'd be fine, because you couldn't live alone. I had to hire a daily help. That was an immense pressure relief. And so off I jolly well trotted to Blighty to record with the lads. And the atmosphere we created amongst each other was just one of the greatest feelings I've ever had. We zoomed through ideas. There was some 19 ideas there on the table, but we tried to knock it down to 13 because, there is such a thing as too much. And you need to work on individual tracks a little bit more rather than, say, 19 to 20 pieces that were not thought out properly.
Now, there have been something like 13 former members of Public Image Limited over the years, but this current lineup of the band, which has been in existence...
I thought it was 200.
Probably 200, yeah. This current lineup of the band of Lou, Scott and Bruce is the most solid and the most kind of regular it's been for a number of years. What is it about working with those 3 guys that makes this so rewarding in 2023?
Well, we're friends. And I think that's obvious when you hear the music. But more importantly, because we're now our own independent label, we don't have to go through corporate record company nonsense. And that's what created an awful lot of issues in my earlier past and my later past. Up until now, we're outside of what we call the shitstorm. And it means that we can spend more time getting to really know each other rather than having to listen to the Chinese whispers that corporate record company thinking can bring in to a situation. And basically, to break that down, it means we hold our own purse strings, so there's no tightening and there's no blackmail. There's no, all you have to do is write a hit single or we won't pay you. There's none of that.
We're going to play the first track from the album now, and it's actually the title track, End of the World. Just kind of tee that up for us, John. Where in the whole scheme of things of the writing and recording did that song kind of emerge?
Well, it's the ideology of lemmings just diving off the cliff, one following the other. But this is like, oh no, this is the other side of it. This is like those that are brave and individual and stand up against dullness and mass media nonsense and take that leap of faith, knowing that it will be worth it, if not only for the journey, but the high expectations of a soft landing. End of the world.
Let's hear it now then. This is the title track of the brand new album from Public Image Limited. This is a song called End of the World. This is Billy Sloan on BBC Radio Scotland. You join me in conversation with John Lydon, and we're talking about the new record, John, which is called End of the World. How does John Lydon write songs in 2023? Has it changed over the years? Do you do anything differently now that you wouldn't have done, years ago when you were less experienced?
It's exactly the same way, chaotically. Sometimes ideas just come to you. I've got to say, it sounds like housewife superstars stuff here, but being a 24/7 carer for Nora, while I'm doing the hoovering, I'm thinking of a song and I'll sing it out loud. And Nora found this highly entertaining. So a lot of these tracks were musically put together in my head by dishwashers, laundry machines, carpet cleaners, all of this. And it's amazing, you can find a rhythm in anything mechanical. And all the time knowing it was giving Nora great joy, it was keeping her brain thinking that I was actually relating to other subjects and not wallowing her in self-pity. Because, as you know, my baby was an independent sort of person and wouldn't take kindly to being mollycoddled. That wouldn't help her. She knows that something was wrong and that would really annoy her.
But it must have been very difficult, John, in that kind of, very tough domestic situation where you're looking after your wife who's very, very ill. It must have been tough to be creative, was it?
Of course. It's a bed of rocks in your head bashing you about, isn't it? Or a gang of skinheads running from one ear to the other. Boom, bash, 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 constant pain and the expectation of nothing but tragedy. Well, get over it. I had to, and I'm absolutely sure that there's many, many people out there in worse situations than me. And so it would be hypocritical of me to just bemoan my sorry lot. I don't bemoan my sorry lot. I've had 45 wonderful years with Nora. That's about as much as you can expect on planet Earth. And we'll meet again. And the song Hawaii, I think, is a refreshing way to approach the sadness of it all, because it's a song, of course, about imminent loss, but also about the joys that you've had together. And the key word in it, aloha, in Hawaiian means hello and goodbye. That's an irony that wasn't lost on the pair of us and should be on the rest of you.
That was the first track that we played from the album because, of course, it was the lead single from the record. And I have to say, I almost fell off the seat when I was told, or where I read, that, John Lydon and Public Image Limited had thrown their hat into the ring to represent Ireland in the Eurovision Song Contest. How do you do that? Do you just phone somebody up and say, we've got a song that we think would be suitable, or did somebody approach you? How did it happen?
No, we did nothing of the sort. We're lazy bastards. The Irish TV show approached us and they'd heard I'd written this song and they wanted to hear it. So we sent them a copy and they went, oh, fine, welcome. And so there it goes. Off we went to Ireland to perform it live in a TV studio. And of course it was all wrapped up in this Euro thing, which none of us took too serious, because what you have to bear in mind is I'm not thinking business manoeuvres here. I'm thinking about my wife's imminent death. And while I'm away from her, if she died while I wasn't there, I mean, what kind of state would that leave me in? So I had to go and perform this song live because I wanted to record it and come back to the US and play it with me and her for each other. And they gave me that opportunity. I cried all the way singing the song, by the way. I couldn't help it. The major point of it all was she was happy I returned. She never, ever forgot me, you see. Alzheimer's and all on top. But not only that, she recognised the suit that she picked out for me.
Yeah.
We used to go through things on the iPad, home shopping things, and it was a pink tartan suit. She went, that, meaning that's what I should buy. I did, but secretly never told her. So when she's seen the film, she knew straight away. The suit. I mean, what a gift. What an absolute gift that all of that worked out. You know, so it's all round a lovely, very sad affair, yes. But my God, you know, somebody up there likes us.
But did you ever, in even a quiet moment over that whole period, wonder what would have happened if you had been chosen to represent Ireland officially in the Eurovision Song Contest? Because they've got a great track record and the whole thing. You know, Johnny Logan has won it several times. Then if you look at the British winners, you've got Sandy Shaw and Lulu and Brotherhood of Man and Boxers. Yeah. Could you have slotted into that whole Eurovision thing?
I don't know. And frankly, my worry was I didn't want that to happen, because that would have meant I'd be away months from Nora. And that isn't the point of doing this at all. I think that song broke the mould in that people understood finally just how deep a person I am and that there is good in me. And this song helped so many people. The amount of emails and mail and phone calls was really overwhelming. I mean, we've touched many, many peoples, and that's just an amazing, wondrous thing. With what started out as really a song based on I suppose, Blue Hawaii by Elvis Presley, a movie, which we foolishly watched the night before in the studio way back when, during Nora's illness. But I loved what Lou did, the guitar, that. He didn't get it at first, but look what we turned. What started out as a kind of I don't know, self-effacing mockery of a thing, and turning it into something so deeply moving. It's all manner of people this song has affected. How fantastic, you know? Well, Nora's postage stamp on the letter of love is big time important here.
Let's hear it now then. From the album End of the World, this is John Lydon, Public Image Limited, and a great song called Hawaii. This is Billy Sloan on BBC Radio Scotland. You join me talking to John Lydon about the new Public Image Limited album, which is called End of the World. And don't forget, of course, the band are going to be playing a couple of gigs in Scotland. You can see them at the Beach Ballroom in Aberdeen on the 19th of September and the O2 Academy in Edinburgh on September the 21st. And tickets are on sale now. John, it's almost hard to believe that Public Image Limited have been in existence now for something like 45 eventual years. When the Sex Pistols thing imploded away back in 1978 and you decided to do your own thing, were you always confident in your musical abilities? In your heart of hearts, could you see lightning really striking twice?
I've never been confident in my musical abilities. Not ever, right up to this present second. Quite the opposite. I'm a bag of nerves, thinking like I'm somehow underwhelming or not achieving the heights I should be. No, I'm a self-inflicted pain and misery kind of character with a smiley face. Every time I go on stage, I'm terrified before I hit that stage. One song, different level, right? The real me comes out. But the fears and phobias, I think, are the very things that power me to do what it is I do, to take those risks and chances. Now, many people in this industry, they resort to heroin to cover up those fears and phobias. But by God, I've seen the other side of it, right from the start. That this is the stuff you need to charge your batteries, all that negative energy. And when you hit that stage, it's pure positive from there on. Fantastic.
When you went into the recording studio to make the first two PiL records, you know, first issue followed by Metal Box, they were so different. They were so kind of experimental and so left field to what you had been doing earlier. You know, was that a very deliberate act on your part, or is that just how it turned out?
Billy, I have an enormous record collection. I've bought records since I can ever remember, I think from the age of 5 onwards, really. My mum and dad were very, very big music fans. There was a lot of music in our house, always, all sorts of music. And so it was inevitable that those different sides of what I listen to will come out. And to expect from me anything that's like easily bracketed and then forever imitated is not possible. It's just not going to happen, because every subject matter involves a different sound structure to dance around in it. And that's very, very important, to have that freedom and not just limit yourself to crazy titles like King of Punk. I mean, yeah, it was great fun, but, you know, there's more fun to be garnered out of the world than just that. Don't put yourself in a box.
When you started with the Sex Pistols in 1976, 1977, you know, Johnny Rotten, you know, created a reaction that was seismic. You know, it was a real sort of explosion in every sense of the word. What do you think were the differences between...
But Johnny Rotten had in the back of his head Can, Captain Beefheart, J.J. Cale, Hawkwind, Alex Harvey Band, Slade, Sweet, Mud, a lot of things going on. T-Rex, the whole glam rock thing, everything, and reggae, roots to the core. It's the narrow-minded way the press have wanted to approach us as the filth and fury and all those scandalised statements. They were meant to destroy us. Didn't destroy me.
But, I mean, Johnny Rotten, as a performer with the Sex Pistols, is very different from John Lydon as a performer with Public Image Limited. So what were the differences?
Well, that's the songs, isn't it? You're relating the energy of each song. And the Pistols had, from only one album, a very clear ambition. I wanted, of course, for the Pistols to expand beyond that.
Yeah.
Hence a song like Religion, which, you know, came out later as under PiL. But they weren't up for that, and they were very much into just boxing themselves in. It had to stop, and I'm glad it did.
The next track we're going to play from the album is one of my favourites. It's called Being Stupid Again, and the lyrics in it are very, very cutting and very biting. So who are you lining up in the crosshairs and pulling the trigger on this one?
This is a very friendly song.
It doesn't sound a very friendly song. I think if I was a student listening to this, I would be thinking, what's he on about now?
Oh, but then you wouldn't be garnering very much, and you're not much of a student. It's plain and simple. It's me holding up my hand and going, look, let's shake, let's be friends. You may have different political points of view to me, but that doesn't make us enemies. Far from it. It should make us stronger as friends. Most of my friends disagree with me. Why shouldn't they? That's the excellence of human beings communicating, in that you live and learn. And those experiences you share with your friends are vitally important. And I regard every human being as my friend. So, hello, you know, you're being stupid again, waving your flags and your banners. And I'm referring there, of course, to the 60s, Ban the Bomb. I mean, that's a period I went through too. I've been around a long time, mate. And I just say it's like an echo chamber. It's the same stuff coming out of the places of higher learning. You know, it's if you like Marxism so much, well, go live in a country where that's practiced and you won't be liking it much longer.
Let's hear the song then from the brand new album from Public Image Limited, which is called End of the World, one of my favourite tracks from the record. This is Being Stupid Again. Billy Sloan on BBC Radio Scotland. We're talking about the great new album End of the World by Public Image Limited. My special guest in the programme, of course, is John Lydon. And John, one of my favourite tracks on the album, maybe even my favourite track on the album, is called LFCF, which stands for Liars, Fakes, Cheats and Fraud. Now, it's the first time on record at least...
Yes, it's not a football team.
No, it's the first time on record at least that you've had the opportunity to address your former bandmates directly, Steve Jones and Paul Cook. Now, everybody knows, we talked about it the last time you were on the programme, that, you know, you went through a very kind of damaging court case, you know, where they took you to the High Court and that kind of stuff. You know, why did you decide to write a song about it and put it down in musical terms?
This is about them. This is me on reflection. And the song is based on the very first rehearsal that the Sex Pistols set up. It's before we even called ourselves that.
Yeah.
None of them turned up. I was the only one left in an empty studio, wondering what the hell was going on. And the song is a bit of self-mockery on me here for being so foolish as to imagine on that long underground journey to the rehearsal place, I'm going to become the greatest poet of all time. Here's my chance. All those conceits that I had to be tumbled and rumbled so awfully. So I'm not really slagging them. I still remember them not being there and the anger and rage I felt. But in reflection after all these years, it's like just the disappointment in my own ridiculous expectations at that time. And so there it is. And by the way, us in England, don't know if you like that up in Scotland, but we talk very derogatory to each other all the time, and it's meant as a compliment. There's another song here about girl. What some journalists have said to me sounds like a real put down of women. It's not at all. It's being complimentary by coming up with some of the worst insults you could ever imagine. The way working class English people talk. That's North London for you. All right? That's how it is. And in the middle of the song, I give the game away, which I shouldn't have done, but I knew there'd be an audience here, not garnering it proper. But I like you.
But, you know, in the song Liars, Fakes, Cheats and Frauds, you do kind of line them up with a couple of great lines of lyric. You say, you could not write what I write, you cannot do what I do, so I left you. And then referring directly to, you know, events of recent years, you say, give yourself a story empty of a history, wrap it up in Mickey Mouse, mimicry and Disney. What do you think the reaction from them is going to be? Do you care? You know, were you kind of sending them a message in the words of this song?
I don't give a damn what they think anymore. After allowing that debacle of a mockumentary to be released is like a shame on you. You know, you're lucky I'm being so kind-hearted towards you right now, fellas.
Did you ever sit down at home and watch it?
I had to, because there were legal entrapments going on. Yeah, awful piece of work. It was, I don't know if the audience, many of them won't have known the Partridge Family, but it might as well have been about them. It absolutely took the pants off the Pistols and exposed them for a bunch of little willies.
And I mean, what did you think of Anson?
How can you do a documentary on the Sex Pistols and not want to include the lead singer and songwriter?
But what did you think of Anson Boone, the guy who portrayed you in it? Did you think he'd got you?
I don't know him. I know that there was some move made for me to talk to him.
Yeah.
But the decision was already made that he was given that role, so it was nothing to talk about. I wasn't allowed access to scripts, so what the hell would a conversation be? If I'm written out, I'm not going to give them any evidence to tear me apart, am I?
Has the sour taste that this is clearly, you know, left in your mouth, has it kind of soured?
Oh, no, don't worry about that. I love lemon juice.
No, but has it soured your kind of happy memories in the achievements? And they were considerable achievements that you managed to chalk up with the Sex Pistols? No, because then what? No. And I'm one of them what knows the truth. And so there's many out there. This silliness, well, that's just stuff you dust under the carpet, isn't it, really? It's a shame. I think what they've done is burn their own history. Absolutely burnt themselves there. And I don't feel no pity for them. I don't feel any rage or hatred. I just don't feel anything for them. So you're saying that you have closed the door on them completely, you know, in future, you're quite adamant that there would never be any occasion whatsoever where you would step into a recording studio or on a stage with Glenn Matlock, Paul Cook and Steve Jones?
There is no door. It is a brick wall, and it ain't coming down anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. You have had something like 45 eventful years as a songwriter and as a performer. If I put you on the spot and said both with the Pistols and Public Image Limited, what would be your couple of fondest moments? Would it be a particular record? Would it be a concert? What would it be?
Well, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything, really. It isn't like that for me. I'd have to sit down and truly go through the memories. I mean, it's an awful lot of years to be picking holes out of. Just all of it. Like for the opportunity I got in the Sex Pistols to be able to put words to guitars and drums and basses was fantastic. It never occurred to me up until that point to do that. I always wanted to be a writer, but now I could write with music. Fantastic eye-opener for me, and I found out that gave me like a wider range writing-wise. Fantastic. So there you go. There's the first killer great memory. Second great memory was starting PiL and the expectations of what this outfit could bring. Not only to myself, but to all the people that worked with me. I mean, many, many careers have launched, for my instigations. So that's a good thing.
Because there was a great quote from you in which you said, "My body and mind is the Sex Pistols, but my heart and soul is Public Image Limited." Do you still feel like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And just that quote alone should have been included in the mockumentary. I think it would have told the audience a lot more than they were allowing themselves to give.
Let's just remind everybody then that Public Image Limited are going to be playing live at the Beach Ballroom in Aberdeen on the 19th of September and the O2 Academy in Edinburgh on the 21st of September. And of course, you're going out in 2024 with your I Could Be Wrong, I Could Be Right spoken word tour. We should tell listeners that you're going to be appearing in Motherwell, Stirling and Glasgow, and tickets are on sale now. Final question for you, John. You famously walked into Malcolm McLaren's boutique at 430 Kings Road in Chelsea away back in 1976 wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt.
I hate Pink Floyd.
Which said, "I hate Pink Floyd." What would your reaction be if you came face to face with some young aspiring singer or musician who was wearing a t-shirt which said, "I hate the Sex Pistols"?
But it wouldn't mean the same, would it?
It would to him.
It's all it's the content and the placing of it historically that was so for me riveting. I loved being that cheeky. Pink Floyd were as accepted as the royal family. They were a sacrosanct no-go area. No criticism about them. Oh, they were just magnificent. Well, yes, some of this stuff is, particularly the earlier Syd Barrett angle. But I didn't actually hate them. But I knew it would like stir up and anger people. And lo and behold, it did. And nothing in that shop, the sex shop, really showed me anything of an equal level. You know, selling rubber T-shirts to, sexually deviant types. It's not really going anywhere. That's a narrow little market. I Hate Pink Floyd opened the doors for them.
The next time I see you, I'm going to deliberately wear my I Hate Public Image Limited t-shirt. I'm only kidding. We look forward to seeing.
I don't give a damn.
We look forward to seeing you in Scotland once again. You're going to be playing the Beach Ballroom in Aberdeen on the 19th of September, the O2 Academy in Edinburgh on September the 21st. It's all to fly the flag for your fantastic new album, which is called End of the World, and we will play out now with one of my favourite tracks from it. This is John Lydon, Public Image Limited, and Liars, Fakes, Cheats and Frauds. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're all liars.
It's always a pleasure to spend some quality time with the brilliant John Lydon. That's Public Image Limited from the brand new album called End of the World and a song called LFCF, which stands for Liars, Fake, Cheats and Frauds. And as you heard me say, the band are going to be playing a couple of gigs in Scotland. You can see them on the 19th of September at the Beach Ballroom in Aberdeen, and then on the 21st of September at the O2 Academy in Edinburgh. And Scott McIntosh gets in touch from Fife. He says, "Brilliant chat with John Lydon. I absolutely loved it." And he says, "I'm looking forward to the new album from Public Image Limited."